He's full of Cajun soul and wowed the judges with his rendition of Sam Cooke's Bring It On Home to Me. Welcome, Dustin Dale Gaspard, who's competing on The Voice Season 28 and is now officially on Team Niall Horan. Hi, Dustin. How are you?
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thanks for nailing the name. You did such a great job.
I really tried. Last name's not normally my thing, the pronunciation anyway, so I did my best for you. Now, Dustin, let's start with this. Just tell people, why did you decide to audition for The Voice?
I decided to audition because I've actually known a couple people that have been on the show years back, and every time that they've returned, they were like the best singers I've ever heard in my life. I had a little bit of freedom within my schedule and did it on a whim, and it all worked out bizarrely. So now, I just wanted to give it a shot and see where it would take me.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously it bode well for you. So congratulations on officially making it formally onto the season into the next round. But you know, I always am curious to know about song selection because, of course, the song that you pick when you're singing the audition, you're really trying to make a very big impression in a very small amount of time. So how did we land on Bring It On Home to Me?
There was a lot of conversation, a lot of back and forth with me and the producers navigating that field, some recommendations. And then I said, well, you know, I really love this song. It was my grandfather's favorite song. And I played it for him before he passed. So I wanted to honor him, and I love soul music. There's a rendition of this tune back home done in the style of swamp pop, which is like a mixture of old school R&B and trad Cajun music and blues. And I wanted to honor the tradition of Cajun, kind of be relevant within the Cajun sphere. So all of those things came full circle for me to choose this tune.
Yeah, I love that. It seems very kind of true to your identity, right? And the kind of style of music you would typically go for. Now, obviously on the show, I would say the first goal is just to get a single chair turn to be able to make it officially onto the season. But an even bigger goal for a lot of people is to get that famous 4-chair turn from the coaches, which you successfully did. So I'm curious, what does that mean to you?
My goal was neither. It was
Okay.
My goal was to get an audition and sing in French. Like that was the pinnacle of what I wanted to reach. Everything else is lagniappe. I'm sure y'all don't know that lagniappe is a Cajun word for just a little bit extra. So the chair turns were certainly hoped for, but not the goal. When I sang in French on stage, that's all I could have asked for. And if you watch the audition, you can see me kind of freeze and tear up a little bit because as soon as that happened, I knew I had made it for myself, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's good. I think that's good to go into it with a goal for yourself and knowing that you're doing it for yourself. I say that a lot, even in kind of my day-to-day. Now, you just touched on this there briefly, but you kind of effortlessly include French into your performances. We saw you do it in the audition. I've listened to some of your music. You do it as well. So kind of tell me, why is that important to you? And how do you go about deciding, you know, like when is the right time in the song to make that happen?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first, it's my legacy to promote and progress the Cajun music, the Cajun language. But it's also, you know, by my heart, I have to do it my own way. And that's typically stepping out of the bounds of something traditional and choosing. I mean, sometimes it's covers, but this was an original idea started back in the 50s and 60s with the swamp pop music genre, which is an indigenous genre to Louisiana. It was a bunch of old Cajun men that wanted to be Elvis or they wanted to be Ray Charles, and they couldn't escape their Cajun roots. So they ended up writing these kind of swing, rock and roll, bluesy, bilingual tunes, and sometimes incorporating that in their covers as well. So as far as arranging goes, you know, it's really difficult to transcribe lyrics exactly, especially when you go into something like French that has so many bizarre verb tenses. And normally it's not going to work out melodically, like as the arrangement could fall and as the melody falls. It'll be a pretty bizarre undertaking to try to sing the exact same thing. So I think song to song, it kind of is very specific to what words can be utilized most musically. And that's how we came up with this arrangement. It just so happened that the second verse really flowed and had a lot of groove for what I wanted to say. And it was pretty much identical to what the inspiration and the everything that wanted to be said in the second verse translated perfectly is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that you especially share this on the show because, you know, similar to myself, I'm sure there's a lot of people who have not really heard kind of that, beautiful mix in music. And so it was really neat to see that. Now, you've got some music out yourself kind of outside of, your journey on The Voice. And so you've got this new single I was checking out yesterday. Is it pronounced Edna, or what is the single called?
Edna. Yeah, that's right. It's the name. Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me all about Edna. It was great. It was a great hit.
Well, that's funny because that song is actually a cut from 2018, I think. And it's just a re-release. I used to play in a big funk band and we had released that song, but I wanted to release kind of my version of it. And so I cut it like that. But the tune is called Edna. It's named after a great aunt of mine who, in the story of the song, it's about my grandfather. He was a good time, fun-loving Cajun man. He was always dancing, and he was known to be a bit of a ladies' man. And he was told that his first child was on the way. And Aunt Edna was telling him, "Hey, Burton, you got a baby coming." And in the song, he's saying, "Edna, that's not my baby." And he's like trying to relinquish his responsibilities, but in the tune he's slowly coming to terms like, oh my god, I'm going to be a dad, like I need to figure this out. And it's all packaged in a very soulful, fun, just funky form.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of music, right? It's the storytelling aspect. So thanks for sharing that with me. Now, of course, as I mentioned, you landed on Team Niall, which was your decision to make. And I know you kind of you said part of your decision was due to having some kind of Irish friends, maybe some Irish or trips to Ireland or something in the past. There was a lot of different influences that felt like of that decision, but can you give me a little bit more insight as to why Team Niall versus the other coaches on this season?
I had originally told the producers that I was not going to pick Niall at all. And I think that was like that's why it might've been such a big surprise, because the influence of information and maybe the energy was, he might have felt that originally I hadn't intended on that. But in the moment, his response, there's a lot of things that they didn't show about his response, where he when he turned around, the things that he had to say, that he wanted to say, were just like, he went on and raved on and on. And I actually have, well, firstly, my biggest influences are songwriters from Ireland. I mean, you're talking a gentleman named Floyd Vance, who's an incredible songwriter and soul singer. You have Van Morrison, who's from out that way. You have Hozier, who's from, an Irish songwriter as well. So that involved all these influences, all these inspirations. There's so much collaboration and crossover between Irish people and Cajun people. And then, his Niall's response to me, it just seemed like, I looked at my mom and she said, she pointed to her chest and was saying, "Go with your heart." And in that moment, I just had to go with my heart.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, if you listen to your heart and trust your gut, I feel like you're always in pretty good hands in life. So I would definitely say that was a strong decision on your behalf. Now, anything, I know you can't tell me too much, but anything you can tease for me about your battle round performance or kind of the next stage of the competition for you?
I can say that the next stage of the competition is the funnest, yet most heartbreaking stage of the entire competition, because you get to get up there and the battle rounds and perform with another contestant who has done the same things, has been through the same experiences, and it feels like the burden of all the nerves goes away, especially if you're with the right partner, which I was with the absolute right partner, and we got to have the time of our lives. It was the most incredible experience doing that.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see how that goes, what you perform and who you're up against. But for now, Dustin, how can people keep up with you and your journey?
Yeah, please follow the social medias, of course, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube account. I put a lot of cool videos up of all the place, and it's just my name, Dustin Dale Gaspard. I am on TikTok. Niall is helping me out with that, getting all the youngins to, but I'm just an old Cajun guy trying to figure that platform out. But please follow on all that, subscribe, and the Spotify follows. Yeah, all that helps so much.
All right. Yeah, so plenty of ways to keep up with you beyond The Voice, but also throughout your journey this season. So Dustin, thank you so much for your time. We're rooting you on and wishing you the best, and can't wait to see how the battle rounds shake out for you.